After years of challenging parking tickets, this is the first time I have a final response. I like to show you whole process. You can see that there's a parking space here, and that's where I left my car. You can also see the double yellow lines. I will get back to them. When I returned, I was surprised to see a parking ticket on my car. I was positive that I hadn't done anything wrong, and the first thing I checked was what the parking ticket was for. Parked in a restricted street during prescribed hours. I immediately realized that this is BS. I take pictures of surroundings. I will show you the pictures in my appeal. Also, I want you to pay close attention to the money. This will be relevant in due course. So, I started my appeal process online. This is the allegations. And this is parking officer's evidence of my parking. Now let's have a look at my first appeal. Dear Sir, Madam, first, I would like to acknowledge that I am the owner of the car and that I was the driver at the time of the alleged parking. After carefully observing the parking location, before parking my car, I parked in the designated space. At the time, I did not see any signs indicating parking restrictions. I was confident that I had not parked my car illegally. However, when I returned, I was surprised to find a parking ticket on my car window. First, I wanted to understand what it's all about. To my surprise, the ticket says that I parked in a restricted street during prescribed hours. I looked around once again and did not see any signs of restrictions. I also took pictures of the location. Please see 3 photographic evidence. I also reviewed the parking officer's photographic evidence, which I downloaded for my records. I found no single picture presenting such claims of any restrictions. Therefore, I would like to appeal this ticket on the basis stated above. I also want to emphasize that it is not my responsibility to ensure the correct signs are displayed at the parking location. I cannot be liable for such an incorrect claim. Furthermore, I would like to request that the council dismiss my parking ticket, as the allegations are baseless and have no prospect of success in court. Based on all of the facts and events, I don't see any reason to respond in the future. So, if you think I've done something wrong, the council can take me to court if they wish to do so. I would only suggest not doing it, as I may bring counterclaims for my time and expenses. And if the council hopes to take future action, I am reserving the right to pay only on a discounted rate, which is £35. Council decided to dismiss my appeal and make some stuff up.
Consideration of the circumstances. I regret I have found no grounds for the cancellation of the penalty charge. When the Civil Enforcement Officer, CEO, inspected your vehicle, it was parked along a double yellow line, and as no loading activity was witnessed nor was a valid blue badge seen on display, they were required to correctly issue the PCN for code 01 parked in a restricted street during prescribed hours. Double yellow lines along the edge of the road mean no waiting at all times, and there is no requirement to erect signage for a permanent double yellow line restriction. It should be noted that most waiting and loading restrictions cover the relevant half of the highway, center line to boundary, and this includes all footways and verges. PCNs will be issued for contraventions of restrictions even if the vehicle is parked wholly behind the yellow line, as in this case. Vehicles will be permitted to park in contravention of waiting restrictions whilst loading or unloading, provided that loading-unloading involving the vehicle is observed by the CEO whilst the vehicle is parked. The observation period shall be for at least 5 minutes for a private vehicle and 10 minutes for a commercial vehicle, and a PCN shall only be issued if no activity is seen during this period. Your vehicle was observed from 14:05 hours to 14:11 hours, and the officer has noted on the case that there was no sign of any loading activity taking place. It is the responsibility of the driver to check the highway regulations at the time of parking. Your reasons are therefore not accepted as grounds for cancellation of the PCN. You can still take advantage of the discounted charge of $35.00 if you pay within 14 days from the date of this letter. If you fail to make payment within 14 days from the date of this letter, the penalty charge will increase to the full amount of $70.00. No further correspondence will now be entered into unless a formal representation is received in response to a notice to owner. See reverse of PCN for details.
I appealed again on this crap. Dear Sir, Madam, thank you for your letter dated the 16th of March 2025. I want to make my second and final appeal regarding your letter and parking ticket. The reasons are, 1. I am sticking to my first argument, I appealed to your parking ticket. 2. I read your second letter, after my appeal, and I can see that you are interpreting something that is not in the parking ticket allegations. Therefore, I disagree with your interpretation of my initial parking ticket. I was never charged for double yellow lines. Furthermore, yellow lines do not have any time restriction, full stop. 3. In any event, I am returning to my first appeal argument. There were no restriction signs in place at the time of parking in this area. 4. I still cannot understand your speculations about restriction times or loading and unloading, and it's clear that you have no prospects of succeeding in the court. Please note that you are required to provide any signs at the time, should this matter go to court. Next, I responded to this final appeal in a correct and timely manner, reserving the right, in any circumstances, to pay only at a discounted rate if this matter goes to court. Finally, in your letter dated the 28th of March 2025, you failed to follow the correct legal process. A. You did not provide me with my rights to appeal or any instructions on how to appeal. That is a failure in the legal process and a breach of my rights. B. You failed to provide me with any information on how to make a complaint. That is also a failure in a legal process. P.S. I would like to inform you that if this case proceeds to court, I reserve the right to bring counterclaims if I so choose.
Thank you for your recent correspondence regarding the above penalty charge notice, PCN. On further review of this case, I am able to confirm that this is loading bay, but the signage that indicates this is missing. I have therefore cancelled the PCN. I confirm that this case has now been closed and you should receive no further communication on this matter.